you do to me. I will forgive you, but I can't forget.
For giving me an opportunity to speak. I'll be only an hour long. Thank you very much. Invest, innovate, inspire. A new model for Caribbean tourism. What is the old model? Someone says it's discover, explore, and exploit, which will ultimately lead to decline in the tourism poverty trap as it witnessed in many destinations across the world. Here's my notes, they may not be exactly in order, but let me say that the Caribbean is naturally inspiring. The global market in tourism considers the Caribbean as a premium destination with a proven track record. Its diverse physical and cultural characteristics, from oceanscapes, the jungles, and everywhere in between, together with its people, and as we say in the Turks and Caicos, forge and blend with multiplicity of race and creed and tongue. I think that's what we say. Kind. Continues to be a pull factor to the region for luxury vacation. But we must work together to end extractive tourism by having a unified investment policy without which we will increase the cost of supporting tourism without the benefits. Having said that, I would like to take license to give you a snapshot of the Turks and Caicos experience in this industry, in case it could help to inform the objective of developing a new, what's that word? A new model for tourism in the region. See, tourism is about people. It's about place, and it's also about profit. So fostering a successful tourism, innovation and entrepreneurial ecosystem requires connecting all stakeholders to collaborate or collaborative opportunities and prioritize capacity building in tourism and technology. And so our model is based, that is the Turks and Caicos model. The new model that we see for ourselves is based on the sustainable triangle of economic, social, and environmental principles, also sometimes referred to as ESG. I'd like to speak, and I'll excuse me if I extemporize here, on a few things. First of all, against the background of what I said earlier about the need to find a unified approach to investment policy in the tourism sector in the Caribbean, I'd like to speak for a moment about PCI own experience. You've been here for the last few days, and hopefully you've enjoyed all the legal delights that this country is offering. And everything looks beautiful and shiny, but against that background, is a saying that nothing succeeds like success, like nothing fails like success. And so, while we have been doing extremely well in Turks and Caicos Islands, we have to also be conscious of the fact that nothing succeeds or fails like success. Yet an article by Stephen Covey headed with those same words I just mentioned, nothing fails, rather, like success. And change is now happening faster than ever. He reminds us that the need to be agile, innovative, adaptive, responsive, and entrepreneurial has never been more vital. We must resist the comforting call of complacency and not assume that our past approach will continue to work. As I said earlier, TCI started as one of the success stories in this industry. But it was that idea not to be complacent that has led my government to examine and respond to the need to reimagine the management of the Turks and Caicos Islands destination, and that has given birth to the new Turks and Caicos Islands DMMO that we refer to from a marketing perspective as Experienced Turks and Caicos Islands. So let me speak for a moment about starting with our incentive regime in the TCI, because nothing fails like success. And we are facing a situation at the moment in Providenciales, unless we intervene in the marketplace and come up with policies that will focus on sustainability, we face the potential of experiencing over-tourism in Providenciales within the next 10 years. And that would be a race to the bottom. And so for that and other reasons, it was very important that we, focusing on the people aspect of tourism, develop the DMO. And so traditionally in the Caribbean, we've given huge tax cuts and other incentives and concessions to inward investment. And sometimes it means that we bear the cost of tourism without all of the benefits. And so from an investment point of view, we've had to look at how we can balance that if tourism is really going to be about people and place. And so recently from our investment policy, what we've done is we've included, instead of making reference to specific tax rebates, we made reference to what we refer to as an equilibrium provision or stabilization, so that our hands are not tied behind our backs 15 or 20 years from now because we've made a commitment to give away tax dollars. We could do that at the same time protecting investment by ensuring that the position that was offered when they entered the marketplace will not change without actually impeding or, because of the statement I made earlier of the rapid change, that is very important. So that's just in a nutshell where we are in terms of our investment incentive regime. You see, billions of private sector investment is in the pipeline here in both Turks and Caicos Islands, particularly Providenciales. And also is a sort of a need to balance private sector investment program as public sector or private sector investment comes into the jurisdiction. Is also important to balance that with public sector investment, increasing the investment in public sector program, development of infrastructure, and other investment in human development as well in order to support investments. So from that perspective, PCI have deliberately established a delivery unit, and have identified 12 major priority projects, which include critically digitalization of the entire government system, seaports, airports, roads, bridges, a national identification system, to be able to do a better job of protecting our borders and being able to identify who lives among us. And so, also, as some of you would have come, as an example of what I'm speaking about, some of you have come through our airport, and while from a investment return point of view, it is probably the highest return on an airport structure anywhere in the world, but it's also extremely dilapidated and time has left it behind. And so in order to enhance the experience of traffic through the airport terminal and to look to the future as we develop this new model of inclusiveness, stakeholder or synergy, and as we look as to how we could monetize our tourism sector to the benefit of everyone, all of our stakeholders, a critical part of that puzzle is to have an entry and exit point in the islands that we can all enjoy, add to the efficiency of our product and the comfort not only of our visitors, but those of us who live here. And so we have, in an advanced stage of moving towards the development of a first-in-class airport facilities, including a new airport terminal, which potentially can cost us close to $400 million to be able to support the growth as we see it coming to TCI. Along with that, we are making huge investment in our port facilities across the islands, our airport and port facilities across the islands. And because we are an archipelago, we're also looking at how we can link the rest of our sister islands together with a spine road link. So our ambition for Turks and Caicos is huge, right? And we're in a good place at the moment, but again, not to be complacent. We enjoy a fairly high GDP per capita. Turks and Caicos has a sovereign wealth fund. It has a BBB plus credit rating, and it has no debt whatsoever. But it also has, like the rest of the Caribbean, a very tight fiscal, narrow fiscal space to take on that. So in developing our industry, our tourism and infrastructure sector, we've been looking at how we can leverage the expertise and funding of the private sector through public-private partnership and PFIs. And that's the way we're building our airport at the moment. That's the intention. Just an example of how all fits into this model that we're trying to develop. But also, in a lot of these Caribbean countries like ours, very tourism dependent. I refer to our economy as a shoebox economy, and I got that. Essentially, what that means is that we import everything, we sell it, either through rooms or whatever else, and then we send it back to import again. So not a lot sticks into the economy, and I think some of us experienced that during COVID-19. It wasn't very long after COVID-19 hit that we realized shortages and also lack of sufficient cash flow to support the population. And because in terms of economic parlance, we have a huge hole in the economy and the velocity of money goes out. And so what we're trying to do here at TCI is to create linkages back to our primary industry, tourism, by ensuring that through the DMO, every person with every stakeholder group have a seat at the table. It's part and parcel of the decision-making regime. So that is where we are here in the TCI, and I hope we have a few lessons here that you can learn from as I'm sure, over the next day or two in this conference, our representatives will also be able to learn from you. I noticed, despite the recent growth in the tourism sector in the Caribbean, and growth has its limits. And so when we speak of growth, we have to speak of it in the triple bottom line context that I spoke about earlier. But I noticed that Fitch Solution have indicated in their view they're expecting slow growth in 2024 as a result of the expected recession in the United States beginning in quarter 2 of 24, suggesting a lower demand for Caribbean tourism, dragging down growth across the region, and that will have an impact on tourism demand. But growth will return in 23 to 2028. And I mentioned that because it's important in the growth years that we realize we take the time to do our planning. External shocks, whether from economic or weather, has had a very lasting impact on our economy. Even here in the TCI, we still have unbuilt parts of our infrastructure since 2017 with Irma, and I believe that it's 2017, right? I believe that is correct for some other places. So it's the issue of resilience and sustainability and adaptability are also issues that we must take into consideration as we discuss this new model. And so, ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you for being here. We hope you enjoy the rest of your stay with us. And again, as I say, we in the Caribbean are diverse in terms of our geographic areas, our capacity, our origins, but the tapestry of our experience unite us. So again, enjoy Turks and Caicos, and it's great to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Premier. I'm sure you gathered that our Premier is quite proud of the projects he has to advance the growth and development of the Turks and Caicos Islands.